Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about being a junior. So let's get into it. So the question in question today was a bit of a story, but I'll see if I can keep it short. The question was, Frederick, I have been working as an intern or as a junior developer for 2.5 years in a company, and I feel like my mentorship has been a bit of a swing and a miss. And I asked my employer, can I please become a full-fledged developer and get paid a living wage because I'm paid as an intern, and the company has told me that I'm just not ready. What should I do? So the short answer is market value check, my friend. You need to check your market value. That is what you need to do. So you will know that I have been promoting that idea quite a few times. If you've watched if you have managed to get through all of at this point is just hundreds, it's over 1,500 videos, I don't know how many videos. But during the course of all of these videos, I have been trying to push this concept to you. Market value. What is your market value? Do you know your market value? Because if you don't know your market value, it is impossible for you to know when you can upgrade from a junior to just a mid-level programmer. You see, guys, the term junior is just an indicator as to what your experience level is. Just a senior is. Most people are just developers, they're just mid-level, so they don't even bother with the title junior or senior or something like that. Because the reality of the situation is that if you don't actually know what this subjective title means in your region, what the perception of the people around you is, because that is, you see guys, the title junior, it gets its power from the perception of everybody around you, the vague collective understanding we as a community have of where you should be in experience after a certain time period. It's the same thing with senior. If you can work for 20 years, depending on how you work, you may still not be a senior. You can call yourself one, but as soon as you walk through that door and you don't produce at a senior level, which is just the subjective opinion of everybody in that room, then they're gonna go, hey, this isn't a senior. What are you talking about? That's not a senior. The same thing goes for a junior. If a junior, guys, I can slap junior on my title today. I can say I'm a junior programmer and start going to job interviews and then have people and just wipe out my CV and say I'm kind of fresh, I've been doing this for a year, and blow their fucking minds in comparison to because if their perception is that I've been doing this for 6 months, and in reality I've done it for years and years and years, well, hopefully at least they will see that, this person is kind of good for being a junior. It probably seems almost unfeasible that this is a junior. The same thing goes here. If you don't know how good you are, you need to figure that out. So what I highly encourage you to do is to have a think about if you are evolving in the way that you should where you are. I have this practice that I've been following for quite some time now. I started doing that at my first job. So I have a reoccurring event in my calendar on my phone, where every 6 months I get a message stating basically just this: are you where you should be? That's the only question. That's the whole thing. And then I take a really long, hard think about if I am where I should be. And I really try to self-reflect and think, have I evolved where I am right now? Do I feel like I'm being treated fairly? Do I feel like I'm learning new things? Am I happy with what I'm doing right now? And if I just feel fairly content, then I wait another 6 months. And I continue that process until I feel a little bit unsure. Because when I start feeling a little bit unsure, it's time to do some market research. And that is what I highly suggest that you do. Because it sounds to me like you have reached that point where you're unsure. I mean, you're unsure if you should stick around, because if the company after 2.5 years, because that is a fairly long time to keep someone at a junior position, it depends once again on what you're doing, and that's why the market check is so important. You should go to a few job interviews. Not because necessarily you're going to switch jobs. You just check it out. Take a few, just see what the interest is. Check your CV, update that, and make it however relevant you need to make it. Then go to a few interviews, see if you get a few callbacks, this sort of thing. Take a few code tests, see what the challenge levels are in a few other companies. And when you have a rough idea kind of where you are in your region in terms of market value, then really have a think. Again, then you just reflect on this, because it might be the case that this company is actually right, that you're not ready to be, not a junior, because they might have you doing things that are not going to evolve you as much, because this person did mention that the mentorship hasn't been all that great. And I mean, even that might be a cause to leave then, because if you after 2.5 years, you're not ready to take on more responsibility, and you feel like the mentorship isn't really going the way it should, and even if your market value isn't super high, then I would say maybe it's time to take a look at another company, because clearly if you haven't evolved enough to raise your market value in 2.5 years of working, then either they're doing something wrong or you're doing something wrong, and you can't really control them. So I highly suggest that you take your personal responsibility here and ask, should I go to a company where I might evolve in the way that I actually need? So what I want you to take away from this is that you need, as a developer, to always have a rough idea of what your market value is. And your market value is determined primarily by how many years you worked, where you work, the region in other words, and your skill level. These three things together are some of the main things that dictates how valuable you are. It's very important. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot one. What tooling you know as well. It's not as important, but in some cases it is fairly important, like if you have the relevant skills within the relevant tooling as well. That helps a lot. So if you know basically what everybody's asking for within your work area, then you know what your market value is. You need to know how good are you in comparison to the other developers. Do you know the same sorts of things that they know? Can you produce in roughly the same amount of time? As I said, the region is very important as well. Is everybody asking for juniors, or are they asking just for seniors and so forth? And where do you fit on that scale? So you need to look around a little bit to have a talk to different companies. And when you have an understanding of what your market value is, ask yourself that question. Are you where you're supposed to be? Is this a good place? Are you evolving? Are you getting the things that you want from where you are? And if you're unsure, then you should start looking at other options, because at the end of the day, you only have one shot at this in life. So, as this is just me, don't waste it being unhappy about how you're being treated at work when you have such enormous amounts of options in terms of employment, since you are, after all, a programmer. But once again, you have to check the market value first. Have a great day.